Eccoci. So guys, I'm so excited today because I've got on the other line, he's in Turin today where he lives, Fulvio Piccinino, who is without a doubt the world's greatest living expert on vermouth. He is literally the guy who wrote the book on the history of vermouth. He runs vermouth seminars in Turin. He teaches at the Slow Food University of Gastronomic Sciences, where I also teach. So he's also my colleague. When it comes to vermouth, Fulvio Piccinino is the dude, and he's also a great guy. This is my second time talking to him, and man, it just blows me away how much I learn about vermouth when I talk to him. And of course, he's the guy who consulted on the recipe for the Amistà vermouth, and hopefully he'll be able to talk to us a little bit about that. But Fulvio, please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? And how did you get, how does one become the world's greatest expert in vermouth? And of course, we're living in the renaissance of vermouth.
Yes.
Just the other day, Eric Asimov. So please tell us about yourself.
Okay, ciao a tutti, ciao to everyone. I hope to be the most important expert in the world. I hope, because I'm not sure to be the guy. For sure, I wrote 2 books about vermouth, and I run seminars, and for sure I'm really passionate about vermouth. I born in Turin 56 years ago.
Me too. I'm 56 years old too. I just turned 50.
1977.
Okay, 46. I'm 56.
Yeah. Okay. So I live in Torino, in the center, close to the center of Torino, and the block where I live was Barriera di Milano. Barriera di Milano was famous because if you see the most important ancient producer and the producer of tinctures for making vermouth, the most part of these small factories were in Barriera di Milano. If you will come to visit, if you want to make my vermouth experience, I make a trip around these places, and there are more than 6 factory producers of aromas and vermouth close to my house. So where I go to play football with my friends in the fields, or when you walk around the quarter, you smell cinnamon, you smell nutmeg, you smell all these aromas, and for sure I say it's impossible that you are not involved in this industry, in this factory, because you live for example, from my flat, I see Maraschi and Quirici. You can ask to Dr. Parato. Dr. Parato is the owner of Quirici. From my flat, I see the yards of Maraschi and Quirici, where there was the alcohol, the spice, everything was the production of these tinctures to make vermouth. So I grow with my grandmother that loved to make amaro. So she have a garden, orto. Orto is not exactly a garden. The orto where he put spinach, carrots, whatever, and herbs like tanaceto, arquebus, okay, to make liquor. So I grow with her that put these herbs in alcohol and makes this with this liquor with sage, tanaceto, wormwood, whatever. Mm-hmm. So my passion, I worked for Heineken for 8 years. So I was involved in the and then when I quit to work for this huge factory, I decided that I want to make the bartender. I want to open my bar, and I want to develop my passion, because I always love bartending and knowing better the recipe of the vermouth, of the amaro, and try to understand the history. So I make I work as a bartender for 17 years, and I was always working in the night or in the bar or in the hotel. And then I decide to write a book because I understand that the job of the bartender was not so well by books. There were a lot of books, but the books of cognac, the books of whiskey, the books of Calvados, and the books of cocktail. There wasn't a book that put all together. So I wrote a book. The name was Sapere Bere, so the knowledge on drinking. That was a small book that all was together. So it was a good book for we say for dummies. You know, if you want to start, you don't want to spend too much money to learn about all the products. And there was a huge success. I make more than 27,000 copies. So wow. It's a huge success. So, and after that, I decide to go deeper in the single products. Of course, I'm from Turin, and the first book was The Vermouth of Torino in 2015, when no one talked about vermouth. I remember that when I go to my editor, I want to write a book about vermouth. I say, well, you are crazy. Write a book about cocktails. Write a book about whiskey. But why vermouth? Nobody care about vermouth. I say, no. And trust me, I'm sure that in a couple of years, the vermouth grows. And in 2017, there was the disciplinar, the proposal of the disciplinar of Vermouth of Torino. And I am proud to say that this book is mentioned in the disciplinar. There are only three books mentioned in this disciplinar, and one is mine. And as it's a good book for the
when you say the disciplinar, you're talking about the appellation regulations.
Yes,
for making a Vermouth di Torino. Vermouth di Torino was born as an appellation in 2017.
Right? For Italy, yes. Okay, the first attempt to make the Vermouth of Torino is 1991.
Okay.
But there was too many problems. After 30 years, we make the Vermouth Institute, thanks to Roberto Bava, thanks to many producers. We put together, we make the Vermouth Institute, and thanks to the Vermouth Institute, we start to write the disciplinar in 2015, and 2017 was approved in Italy, and in 2019 was approved in Europe.
And your book is mentioned in the appellation.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
You know,
because they say the book of Fulvio Piccinino, The Vermouth Torino, is you can trust the what is wrote about the history. So I don't know if I can say, but bullshit proof. No bullshit. No.
I love it.
Because I wrote the real history of the vermouth, so based on the books, because I am a huge collector of old books. I have more than 150 old books in my house about vermouth. I have the Vermouth of Torino of Strucchi. I have the book of Ottavio Ottavi, of Castone, Cassone. I have many old books. So I just read the books and say, this is the history. That's it. I don't care about the legend, the tradition. I don't care about that. So in the book, there is only the history that is wrote in the book and the proof that I find looking in archive. Okay, so I go in the Torino archive.
Fulvio, you're a man by my own heart. I can't wait for someday you come. I can't wait to come visit you in Turin, and hopefully you'll show me your collection. I can't wait for you to come see me in Houston, where I can show you my collection of books. Tell me, what do you, and I really want to hear, obviously I want to hear about the seminars you do because they're really interesting. But before we talk about your classes, your laboratory, why do you think that vermouth, you kind of were a visionary, you saw the future by looking at the past, right? And why do you think the world is so interested in vermouth today? What's your take? Why do you think there's this? I mean, Eric Asimov just wrote a big piece on vermouth. He said, let's make it the summer of vermouth. Why is there so much interest in vermouth?
I start to make class of vermouth in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was 3-4 guys, bartenders that was interested in. But I am, I don't know to say caparbio. I don't know to translate. Testardo,
Yeah, just stubborn. You're hard-headed.
Yeah. So I say it's not possible that the people don't like vermouth. I at the end I will win about that. So I start to make seminars with just tasting. Okay, and this was the error. Okay. I understand that the people need experience, so I make a vermouth experience. So you come in Torino for one day. We make the seminar about the history. Then you make your own vermouth. Yeah. Because I make I study the way to make tinctures that was sure without any kind of not poison, because the wormwood have the tujon, the calamo have another beta-zarone. So there are chemical stuff that is not, you can put the herbs in the wine and hope that everything's okay. So I start to make these tinctures that are controlled by professional laboratory. So you can come to my laboratory and you can fix your own vermouth, so you can understand exactly how it works to make a vermouth. Oh, it's complex, difficult to make a vermouth. And after, I go with the guy of the class to visit, to visit the old bar where there was served the vermouth. Then we go to the wormwood fields in the south of Torino, and we visit the factory that produces the herbs. So the cutting herbs, everything. So I behind the curtains, the vermouth behind the curtains. So the vermouth is a very complex chain, production chain that starts from the fields where the wormwood grows. Then there is a huge cooperative that makes they cut the herbs, they farm the herbs, and then go to the factory where I infuse it in alcohol, and then at the end of the process you have the vermouth. And this was a huge success, because the people is not just tasting of vermouth. Okay, we feel the note of nutmeg, of cinnamon and cloves. It's quite boring. I don't know what to say this, but people is wine tasting every day. There is a wine tasting. So okay, so I need to increase the experience. Okay, and thanks to the experience, the name is Esperienza Vermouth. So vermouth experience. I started in 2015, and today there are more than 9,000 people that come to make the vermouth experience.
That's amazing. And I'm going to publish, by the way, to people who are listening or watching our video right now, I'm going to publish a link to the to Fulvio's site, so that you can, because anybody can sign up. Anybody can. It's open to everyone. Is that correct, Fulvio?
Yes, we have a lot of Americans before the pandemic. We have a lot of American tourists that come to make the vermouth experience. We are all first to make a vermouth experience. Today we start again to have tourists. We have the tourism is growing again, and I hope that we increase again the vermouth experience. But the thing is very interesting is that the most part of the people that come on Thursday, because Thursday evening we make this laboratory with this workshop every Thursday. The most part of the people are passionate. Workers, there are employers, there are not bartenders. It's incredible, because before I have 90% bartenders, 10% passionate. Now is 95% passionate people want to know what they drink. And they ask to me, I make the same experience for gin. I make a esperienza gin, so the same structures with the gin, and then we make esperienza amaro, and in the October and November we make esperienza grappa. So it means that the people that is a fan of these products want to know exactly what there is inside the vermouth and behind the vermouth. Before was enough to drink. I like vermouth, I drink vermouth. But now they ask to you, but okay, you feed these herbs, how is what I want to make at home. It's changing completely the mind of the people. The people now want to know the products. The bartender, I don't know what, but now it's the passionate, is the people that love the products that are increasing the culture of the vermouth, and the bartender follow. Before was the bartender that that had, the heading of the bar was made by bartenders. Now is the passionate that go. It's happened like in the wine. When I was a bartender, people ask for a glass of white, a glass of red. Today, you go to the bar and you ask for Arneis, you ask for Gewürztraminer, you ask for Moscato. So the people grows, the culture of wine grows a lot, and even the culture of vermouth, of gin, of Amaro grows a lot. Before, people drinks and was enough. Now people want to know. It's interesting.
Very, very interesting. And man, I'm telling you guys, whenever I get to talk to Fulvio, I wish we had time today to talk about gin. Before our call, we talked about gin. I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. We don't have a ton of time left, but can you talk a little bit about the Amistà vermouth and why, it's a red wine vermouth. You consulted you helped them find the recipe. Can you talk to us about Amistà's vermouth and why it's interesting? What you think's interesting about it?
Yeah, it's really interesting because normally if you vermouth, you use white wine plus caramel.
Yeah.
Because the tradition, the 95% of the vermouth producer to make a red use white wine plus caramel, and normally is a red wine quite base. I don't want to say it's not so complex, it's not so structured. But there are some producers that start to use the red wine to make vermouth red. And when Amistà, when the owner of Amistà come to ask if it were possible to make a red wine with red vermouth, with red wine, they say it's more complex because using red wine you have more tannin, you have more of the color, it's more fruity, it's more acid. There are many problems because you have the disciplinar is 75% of the vermouth is wine. So if you have a wine with a huge shoulder, I say shoulder is the shoulder. We used to say that if you have a wine with a lot of structure, is strong,
power,
it's very difficult. It's very difficult to cover because the problem is that if you add spices, it feels okay. If you add wine, that's nothing else. So I have to work with the producer, with the Revecchion. Revecchion is a very old distillery that we have in the north of Piedmont, 1850. So probably not the oldest distillery in Piedmont, but probably the third distillery more older in Piedmont. And the owner is Alessandro Revecchion, that is 70 years old. So he's an old boy that have a huge experience in vermouth production. So we start to work together with Marciai, talking with the owner, because he wanted that
the owner of
he want that the wine is the protagonist, and we have to follow the wine. Okay, we need to follow the wine so increasing the aromas of following the aromas of the wine, not covering. So what we do is to taste a lot of time the wine and try to understand which spices can match very well with this aroma of the wines, and giving the right bitterness and fruity and flower. And so it was very, very difficult. We take a lot of time to make the. It's not, you say always, we take a lot of time to make the recipe because you feel important, but it's right, absolutely right in this case. Because what's not easy for me is easier to work with white wine, because white wine is flat, it's the aroma.
Now,
And
is it true? Excuse me, Fulvio, is it true that originally most vermouth was made with red wine in the 19th
yes.
century? Is that true?
In the recipe, in the old books, there is you have to use good wine. Good wine, and normally we use Moscato. In the books of the 19th century, the most part of the writers say that Moscato was the best, probably because they're natural sugar, because you can save sugar, because sugar was very expensive, probably because even Strucki say that the wine have to be the protagonist, so the aromas of the Moscato was well matched with the spice. So Moscato is an aromatic wine, and there are even a lot of recipe with the red wine. Not too many, but especially if you want to make a vermouth, very traditional, using cinnamon, cloves, orange peel. So what we say that is vin brûlé. Vin brûlé. So many recipe with red wine are really close to vin brûlé, but the aromas of vin brûlé is not vin brûlé, of course. But very, very traditional vermouth have this kind of spice inside. And for Amistà, we use the same trick. Okay, so following the aromas of the Barbera, that is fruity, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, just following the wines, the right quantity of sugar. And so when you taste Amistà, it's a vermouth. Is a real vermouth, very, very traditional. It's not innovative. I don't want to say that. Sometimes you can, okay, I put ginger, I want to put this spicy. No. Very traditional vermouth, very traditional.
And I know Michele Marciai wanted to create a traditional vermouth. Listen, Fulvio, it's so fascinating to hear you talk. Thank you so much for your time today, spending some time with me. Maybe we can do some more of these and talk, more about this if you have time. I cannot wait this is the second time I've interacted with you. I learned so much talking to you, and I just love, it's so fun. It's so fun. I can't wait to come. Thank you for the invitation. I'm going to come do in November when I come to teach, and I hope we're going to drink some vermouth together.
Oh, yes, of course. In Torino, we have some vermuteria. I want to say that in Torino, every bar is a vermuteria. So I love especially the old bar with old furniture. And Torino is full of this kind of bar because we have a law that is not possible to change the destination of the place. So if you buy this bar and you want to make a bank, you can't do that. Okay, so if you have a bar, you have to run a bar. So Torino is we go to San Carlo, Mulassano, Talmone. It's full of old bars, and it's so fascinating to have a vermouth in this place.
I cannot wait. We will do a vermouth crawl when.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, Fulvio, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Jeremy.
So fascinating to talk to you as always. Thank you so much.
Ciao,
I'll see you soon. In a couple of months.
Thank you, Jeremy. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.